At this time, we've covered the season intro, we've covered weapons, we've covered Eververse. So now it is time to see what else is about this season. An important thing, you might notice from my chest plate, Arc 3.0 has officially dropped. So let's keep it simple and start from another character just so I can end up on another character. So on our Warlocks, if you take a look at the Arc tab, you can see some of the options there. And of course, supers have been split between Storm Trance and Chaos Reach, respectively. And for abilities, we still just have 2 rifts here, so there's nothing new there, no new jumps, but there is a new melee. Now, Ball Lightning is what was originally on, Chaos Reach tree, so that's nothing new. But then we also have Chain Lightning, which this is everything. That was also on the original Stormcaller build. So basically, a extended range melee that jolts at targets, so chains the enemies, and when amplified, it creates additional sets of chains. Same with Ball Lightning. When amplified, it does additional lightning strikes. And with the grenades, we have access to all grenades on every class. So lightning grenades from Titans, flashbang grenades also from Titans, pulse grenade from Titans, skip grenades from Hunters, flex grenades from Hunters, arc bolts from Hunters, and as well storm grenades from Warlocks. Available on all classes, able to be used. Now for aspects, for Warlocks, we have Arc Soul, which is cast a rift to create an Arc Soul that fires at targets in front of you. Allies can pass through your rift to get an Arc Soul. Your rift charges faster when enemies are nearby. And while amplified, your Arc Souls are supercharged and gain increased rate of fire. Which, just that statement makes me curious. What does Getaway Artist do now? So Getaway Artist, dynamic duo, convert your Arc Grenade into an Arc Soul that becomes amplified. The Arc Soul functions as an autonomous turret. So basically, it's just same thing as before. It'll create an amplified Arc Soul. So with that as well, we have Electrostatic Mind. Defeating targets' arc abilities or defeating jolted or blinded targets create an ionic trace. Collecting an ionic trace makes you amplified. So basically, if you run anything that, jolts, blinds, it's just a general, restoration ability. And as well, we have Lightning Surge. While sliding, activate your charge melee ability to blink forward, calling the lightning strike that jolt targets as you rematerialize. So a new sort of sliding melee ability for the Warlock. So not without no new abilities there. Oh, excuse me. In addition, just looking over our buffs and debuffs. Jolted. The target is charged with a destructive arc light. As they take additional damage while jolted, they chain lightning to nearby enemies. Basically, you electrify an enemy and they deal damage to enemies around them. Blinding. Combatants are disoriented and cannot fire their weapons. Opposing player's HUD is removed and their vision is obscured. Blinding. Then as well, Amplified. Your movement speed and weapon handling are greatly increased. After sprinting for a short time, your movement speed is further increased. Rapidly defeating targets with arc damage makes you amplified. In addition, Ionic Traces are a bolt of pure arc energy that travels on the ground seeking towards its creator. When picked up, Ionic Traces grant ability energy to all 3. So, moving next to the Hunters for their sparky new take on Hunter dodging. So, for the Hunters, they have 2 supers now, the General Arc Staff, which you've had prior, and the Gathering Storm, where you hold your Arc Staff forward and bending it into surfaces or large targets and jolting nearby enemies. After a short time, a devastating lightning bolt strikes the staff, overcharging it with arc energy, and while overcharged, your stat discharges light at nearby foes. So think Electrified Fence, and this makes it around it. So, in addition to that, we have our usual dodges, the usual jumps, and in terms of melees, we have Combination Blow and Disorienting Blow, both from the original Arc trees. And then for grenades, obviously, all options. And for aspects, we have Flow State. Defeating a jolted target makes you amplified. While you are amplified, your dodge recharges more quickly. You are more resilient while dodging, and your reload speed is greatly increased. So basically, just a speed buff in addition to everything. Then we also have Lethal Current. After dodging, your next melee attack has increased lunge range, jolts the target, and creates a damaging aftershock. Damaging any jolted target with a melee attack also blinds them. Basically, the middle tree melee combo that you could do originally with the Way of the Current. Then we also have Tempest Strike, which makes it so that while sliding, activating your charge melee ability to unleash a devastating uppercut attack that travels along the ground in front of you, damaging and jolting its targets on hit. So basically just the sliding uppercut, slide, but in addition to everything else, it does new jolting, so that's great. Now, lastly, for the most important class this season, Titans. So kicking off the last set of aspects. So for supers, we got split between Fist of Havoc and Thunder Crash. Most pretty much stay the same. Then we also have Towering Barricade and Rally Barricade, in addition to the Thruster class ability, which basically makes it so that while we're on the ground, specifically while we are on the ground, let me make that important so people are weighing that it's not Twilight. Basically, double press to B, and you will dash in any lateral direction. Forward, left, right, or backwards. Then, in addition, we also got a new melee. In addition to Ballistic Slam and Seismic Strike, which it was improved that it still blinds, and while amplified, the blind radius is increased. Same, whoop, I pressed too many buttons at once. Then, with additionally, this one is the same thing. No benefit from amplified, it seems. But then we also have Thunderclap. Right button to hold while grounded, basically on the floor, to plant your feet and begin charging your fist with arc energy. Release it to unleash a devastating blast in front of you, dealing damage that increase with longer charge time. Can even one-shot people in PvP if charged for long enough, but it will take some skill likely. Then, 4 aspects, we have Knockout. Critically wounding a target or breaking their shield infuses your melee attacks with arc energy and increases your melee range after an arc and damage for a short time. Defeating targets with melee attacks start health regeneration and makes you amplified, so an easy amplified method. Then we also have Touch of Thunder, which is basically benefit the grenades. Now, Flashbangs, Pulse Lightning, and Storm Grenades have enhanced functionality. For the Flashbang, emits additional blinding flash on bounce. Pulse Grenade creates ionic traces periodically as it damages targets and increases the damage over time. Lightning Grenades grants an additional grenade charge and jolts targets hit by the Eternal Blast. And for Storm Grenade, after detonating, creates a roaring thundercloud that tracks nearby targets and fires bolt of lightning at foes beneath it. Am I so glad that I was going to use Storm Grenades right off the bat, regardless of how it was. Now, for Fragments that they introduced, this is the piece of the pie. This is how stuff gets interesting. Now, it didn't seem like there was anything to buy. Of course, there does seem to be some that are locked right off the bat. Let's see. We'll have to wait and see how they get introduced. But, starting, we have Spark of Frequency. Melee hits greatly increase your reload speed for short duration. Pretty decent there. Maybe not be necessary, but it's there. And we also have Spark of Focus. After sprinting for a short time, your class ability regeneration is increased, but I believe it will affect whatever stat affects your class ability regen. In this case, it's Resilience for Titans. Then we also have Spark of Beacons. While you are amplified, your arc special weapon final blows create a blinding explosion. Oh boy, we can make any sniper rifle into Hereafter with that. That sounds like fun. Then, also, Spark of Resistance. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage with a buff to strength. That sounds nice. Spark of Recharge. While critically wounded, your melee and grenade energy regenerates more quickly. Always nice there. I'm liking the sound of this. Then also, Spark of Magnitude. Your lingering arc grenades, lightning grenade, pulse, and storm grenade have extended duration. So basically, if you're running the bell for enhanced grenades, also run that. That just benefits everything. Then we also have Spark of Momentum. Sliding over ammo bricks reloads your equipped weapon and grants a small amount of melee energy. Basically, inertia override. Everyone gets it now. So, there we go. Then we also have Spark of Shock. Your arc grenades jolt targets with a negative effect to discipline. So, lightning bringing the lightning. Then you also have Spark of Amplitude. Rapidly defeating targets while you are amplified creates an orb of power. Basically, the Radiant from last season. Taking melee damage briefly increases your outgoing melee damage, plus 10 resilience. That's basically feedback and worm gods combined. Then we also have Spark of Ions. Defeating a jolted target creates an ionic trace. Sounds nice. Spark of Discharge. Arc weapon final blows have a chance to create an ionic trace. Basically, the elemental harvester of ionic traces and wells. We have Spark of Volts. Finishers make you amplified with a buff to recovery. Ooh boy, it's sounding nice. And let's see, one last one, Spark of Brilliance. Defeating a blinded target with a precision damage creates a blinding explosion with a buff to intellect. Ooh, Arc is sounding nice. It may not be as survivable, possibly, as Solar, because obviously restoration buffs and healing and all that. But it definitely seems like even though we are going to be tough to kill, we're also going to be hard on our enemies, blinding them and constantly striking them with lightning. Arc 3.0 is going to be good. Not to mention that one last little tidbit for my Curious Titans. This one right there. Grants a bonus arc super damage is cast when critically wounded or while amplified. Lasts until the end of super activation. I'm just going to leave that there. I'm literally not going to cover anything else about the artifact because I believe we already covered them to completion. Here, let's see. Amped up. It's amplified longer. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Trace evidence. Targets debuffed, spawns on trace. Yep, lightning strikes twice. We already saw that one. It's under glare. We know what that one does. So, yep, I'm not covering any more of the artifact. We already covered everything else in a previous video in the TWAB. With that, my name is Matt Scorpion. I'll see you in the next video.